Hello, everybody. It's Friday. That means it's time for another topic of the week. So, last week's topic on hobby shaming on your unpainted models. That was great. I'm going to give a special shout out to Hooves of Doom for having not only a ridiculously outsized collection, but he really went in detail in his shame to the point of Excel spreadsheets. So I know that sounds not that exciting to watch, but I assure you it's actually quite entertaining. In fact, I would say it is the most entertaining use of Excel spreadsheets in the history of the universe. So that's pretty good. I think you should probably win some kind of award for that. So check it out. As always, last week's topic will be linked down below, and all of the videos, responses to last week, are linked in that video. So you can check that out. This week's topic. All right, so here it is. It's this week. We know what's happening. We're going to talk about the Generals Handbook. All right, basically the whole thing has been spoiled through cell phone pictures. Your friendly local game store or your Games Workshop store has their copy now, or will probably by the time you're watching this available. They've certainly already got it. They're just gonna. I think they can show it to people today. Probably. I think the first. So I'm gonna put a link down below if you want to see. It's down there. There it is. You can see it. It's a link to the Imager repository of all of the images of everything. Well, the points and the allegiances and the command abilities and the new artifacts you can get and all this sort of stuff. Obviously, that is still just a snippet of this very large book, but if you're curious, you can look down there and see all the deets. That's not exactly the topic. The topic that I want to discuss is really kind of attack this from all angles. With the General's Handbook, are you excited for it? Is it something you've been really looking forward to? Not just, and I don't want this to be just an exploration of the points. The points is a big deal. But what element of the General's Handbook are you looking forward to? Because there's like 4 different campaign narrative systems in this book too that are more or less detached from the match play portion, which is, the point system, right? So this is a really big book with lots of ways to play. Are you excited for it? What are you most excited for about it? If you're not somebody who's currently playing AOS or, maybe has been on the fence, is this something that maybe might motivate you in some way in any element of the book? Having points, having a campaign structure, being able to customize your heroes now with, unique command abilities, unique, magic items or whatever. You can actually give them sort of artifacts and items. So you're getting some amount of customization back. Does that interest you? Do you want to see, are you going to be playing more match points? You're going to be using match points in a narrative campaign. How do you hope to use the book, right? And then, of course, what do you think of all the elements that have been spoiled so far? And what do you think of waiting until having all of this and having to wait 3 weeks to see it? That's the thing that I'm most upset about. I'm like, I don't want to look at dumb cell phone pictures for 3 weeks. We've all, it almost justifies the we didn't know anything was coming until a week before it happened mentality, because now I'm like, oh, I'm feeling the other side of that double-edged sword of like, now I really want this to happen, but now I have to wait a while. So it's so funny. There's no pleasing us as consumers, because now I'm like, I wish I didn't know. Now I have to put up with just waiting for this thing for several weeks. So there you go. That's the topic this week. What do you think of all of it? I know for me personally, I am most excited for the campaign system. And I've said this a couple other times, but I'll say it again here. I love the idea of campaigns. I've done 2 Warhammer campaigns in the past, the previous editions. We did one back in 6th edition, and then one later on, like in 7th or 8th. It was somewhere back there. It was a while ago now, like 6-7 years ago, so it was probably 7th. Anyway, we did 2 campaigns, and I've loved both of them. They were both map-based campaigns, like, you have territory you conquer, but that is in this book as well, but it's not the only one. I love that style of campaign, but I'm excited to see what other options there are. For me, that's always been a more interesting proposition than just showing up and getting a game on. Something about consequences is what I like. I like the fact that because of my good or bad actions in one game, I am bonus or penalized in the next game in some way. It doesn't have to be huge. it's one of the things I always loved about Mordheim, right? There were very real consequences, like game to game to game, of how successful you were. There are dark sides to that, like you can enter what we always affectionately refer to as the suck spiral, where you just kind of get caught losing and losing and losing and losing, and you go down and down. You got to watch that. I accept that that can happen, and it's unfortunate. But to me, it's still worth it for that one small downside to have the opportunity to take heroes or armies, units, and watch them sort of grow and advance over time and fight in battles where the effects of what happened, at the current time matter in the future. So that's what I'm most excited for. I am super jazzed about all these campaign systems, especially just even having the Path to Glory, which was the sort of Christmas campaign with Chaos. They're opening that up to all the different armies and having a bunch of different like warband rosters. So it's a smaller, I would call it like a pseudo Mordheim type experience. And so I'm very excited to see that show up in this book. I think I'll probably use the points some just as a rough gauge, because it just makes it easier to, using it for the thing we've been talking about. It just makes it easier to say, like, what are we playing? Bring 1,500 points. I think I'll probably play small points games, just because I like smaller games. I started playing back and forth right at the end of 4th, beginning of 5th, and the reality is that your armies were very small. I did a whole video on this, and for people who started anytime 6th edition or 7th later, you really can't conceive of the seismic shift that happened at that point in time versus the world we used to live in. And I've said it before, like a Chaos Knight in 5th edition, who didn't come with Chaos armor, by the by. You had to buy that extra. So a fully tripped out Chaos Knight in that edition was 80 points. Okay? That's one guy. 80 points. Not a unit of knights. The knight. Okay, so, and what that meant is that your armies were small. Like, a big block was like 20 dudes. So I like that size. I tend to still play that size. In most of my games of AOS, we play that size. So I think I'm going to use the points as like a rough gauge just to say, let's do like 1,500 points. I don't know if we probably won't use the force composition rules very much because who cares? Just, don't be a bad guy. And it's fine. Bring what you want. Otherwise, play with your toys. I like playing with my toys. I painted a lot of my toys. I want to play with my toys. There you go. So that's how I'm going to use it. I would love to see your responses. Are you excited? If you're not playing, is this going to draw you in? What out of the book are you most excited about? And how do you think you're going to use the Generals Handbook if you are somebody who's getting it? There you go. Can't wait to see the response to this topic. If you don't want to make a video response, you can always throw that answer down in the comments below. We always love to see that. But if you want to make a video, that video will be posted down there in the description. But as always, we'll see you next time.